Go. Today's November 2nd, 2023. I'm Natalie Mann interviewing Moira Dror for the USC Shoah Foundation. We're in Malech Hamisha. The interview will be in English. Thank, thank you, first of all, for interviewing with us, and anything you want to tell us, we're here to hear, to listen. And if you want to stop at any point, stop the interview. Okay. So, the smell of the trees here. It's a good time. Okay.
עוד פעם.
זה מעולה, רק שלא יהיה, סליחה.
אפשר להוריד את זה, מה?
לא, לא, זה יפה.
טוב.
Okay, so thank you, Moira. Could you please start by introducing yourself?
Okay. My name is Moira Dror, and I'm from Nativ Asara. And I came to Israel 50 years ago from Scotland. I came when I was 19. I came just after the Yom Kippur War because I'd read a lot about the Yom Kippur War and decided that this was some kind of place that I really wanted to visit. So I went to the Jewish Agency in Scotland, and I'm not Jewish, but I went there, and they were absolutely delighted that volunteers from Scotland would come to Israel. So after an interview, I was working there in Scotland at the time. I was 19. I was working as a social worker, training to be a social worker. And they said, okay. So they paid for my ticket, and off I went to Israel. I arrived in Israel just at the very beginning, February of 1974. And we were the first volunteers in a moshav van. After we were there 3 months, the Jewish Agency sent us down to another moshav in Sinai called Noeba. It's 75 kilometers south of Eilat. And there I landed on the Red Sea. Wonderful people, small agriculture. They did growing flowers and melons and watermelons in the winter because it's very warm down there. And there I met my husband. And 8 months later, we traveled to Europe together for 3 months in a van. And we got married there and came back to Israel together. And me as an Israeli citizen then. So in Sinai, I gave birth to 2 daughters. I have 2 daughters in Sinai. About 5 years later, I have 2 daughters in Sinai. And then in 1982, the peace treaty with Egypt was established, and we had to leave Sinai, and the government said, we need people in Nativ Asara. And that's where I live now since 1982 with my husband and I now have 3 daughters. 1 was born in Nativ Asara. So the 5 of us lived in Nativ Asara and worked in agriculture there. I grew flowers. My husband has worked all these years in the Nature Reserve Authority in Israel. He was in charge in Sinai of all Sinai, from Eilat to Ras Mohammed to Santa Catarina. So we had a wonderful job there. He's a deep sea diver, and we had everything there. And we came to Nativ Asara, and for us it was a bit strange, but we thought at least we have the sea, the Mediterranean Sea. And the moshav, Nativ Asara, is built on sand dunes. So it wasn't earth, and we like sand. So my daughters grew up there, and in 82, when we left Sinai, then the government decided that the Jewish community would move back into Gaza and build settlements inside Gaza. And for us, this was like, we've moved out of Sinai, and now the government's putting more Israelis back into settlements. So it was a bit of a problem for me. I'm very right-wing anyway, right-wing, left-wing. It was a problem for us, but we thought, okay. But then the people in Gaza started throwing bombs, started mortar bombs, started a lot of murders and deaths happened in there. And then after many years of them being there, and they built cities and they built schools, they made a peace treaty with the Palestinians in Gaza, and the settlements were moved out, which left Netiv Asara right next to the Gaza Strip. Until '82, we could go into Gaza. We could buy things there. My house was built by people, Palestinians from Gaza. We bought things, but you could go in there. But after this happened, the wall was built with the Arik Sharon, and at that point, when the Israeli settlers left Gaza, we had to build bomb shelters in my moshav. Until then, we didn't have. And I remember standing there in not 82, but 90, when, the dates are gone for me at the moment. I'm a bit lost at the moment, actually, to tell you the truth. But when this happened, I said, but if the settlements are getting taken out of Gaza and the Palestinians are staying in, so why do we need bomb shelters anymore? Because why would they bomb us anymore? And so for the last 20 years, we've been bombed. And we've been bombed not on a daily basis, but at least every so often we get a mortar bomb in the beginning. And then the Hamas came into power 20 years ago. They were voted in democratic way in Gaza. And the Palestinians were fed up with the Fatah. They didn't want Yasser Arafat because they said that they were taking all the money and using it for themselves and not giving it to the people. So they voted for Hamas, all the Palestinians there, and young people and old people. They said the Hamas promised us schools, hospitals, education, a better life. But instead, the Hamas became corrupt, and all the money that was sent in by this government for many years has built underground tunnels, no schools, no hospitals, just Shifa, which is still there, and another hospital. They didn't do anything. They built underground tunnels. Everything that was sent in from Israel, cement, metal, whatever they needed, was not used to build houses or homes or hospitals. It was all used to build tunnels. And this we only knew after one point in the Moshav, we were telling the government we have tunnels coming inside the Moshav. My house is 50 meters from the wall, which is about 8 meters high, and I'm about 300 meters where the Hamas now have a training camp. So, I mean, we hear this all the time. My moshav is long, and so one half is like further away, but we're really close to the wall. And we're really on the south side of the moshav. So we hear this all the time.
The northern border of the Gaza.
Yeah. It's the northern border, and we're only, we're about 1 kilometer from the Erez crossing. But since the Hamas came into power, so Netiv Asara has become like a stronghold. We've got walls around us, walls down beside, walls here, walls there. We've got an electric fence that costs millions of dollars because of the tunnels that they made. In Tzuk the Air Force, they bombed all the tunnels, and we had 3 tunnels inside Netiv Asara, which were bombed, and we found out, and we told the government. We told all the time Netiv Asara, we tell, because we're so close to the border. Then 2 years ago, the Hamas built a post, which is now overlooking the Moshav on their side. And we bombed it once, and the next day, they built it up again and put a sign saying, "Watch out, Netiv Asara, we're coming for you," in Arabic. So for many years, we've had mortar bombs. I've fixed my house, my daughter's house, we've fixed twice. She lives just across on the same area as we do. We have 2 dunams of land to build. Her house has been all the windows knocked out by a mortar bomb like twice. My house had a rocket just 2 years ago, so the whole roof was gone and we fixed it. It took about 6 months to fix everything because everything was wet with the water came through. So Netiv Asar is it's an amazing moshav. We have agriculture. It's beautiful. It has grass and flowers and trees, kindergarten, and all the people that live in the moshav are now the sons of members of the moshav who came back and built their house and made a family in the moshav. We are the miyazdim. We're the ones that came first in '82. So my 3 daughters, my eldest daughter still stays with us. I have another daughter that lives in the Lebanese border. She's also has a farm up there, and now she's been sent down. She can't live there anymore. They've been sent down to the Emek. She's in Vered Galil, and they have like 800 head of cattle, 800 head of cattle, and the army now took down all the fences and all the cows are just wandering around. So we can't go to her because we never come to a hotel. We never do it. And this is the first time the government has said to us, you've got to leave the house, you can't stay. And in my moshav, 21 people were murdered, and all this happened about 50 meters from my house. And the 3 of us were in the safe house, and a barrage of like rockets came over at 6:18 in the morning. We wakened up on the Shabbat, we got up, of course ran down to the safe house, but it didn't stop. It went on and on and on. I said to Gil, Gil's my husband, something's wrong, there's something going on. And then we hear shooting, and then there was no electricity or water, so we had to, there's no telephone communication either, so we got WhatsApp. And somebody in the moshav that's not even in the guard for the moshav, she sent us a message and said, if anyone's got a gun, get your gun and stay in the safe house and close the windows and the doors and just stay there. And we had no idea what was going on. And Gil, being Gil, he would have gone out the house to see what was happening. And I said, you're not going out the house, just stay with us to shoot or to do something to help, because we have the guards in the moshav that are not soldiers. They're men, young men in the moshav that have families. And they were immediately awakened by what happened. The person in charge, he managed to write a WhatsApp and said, get your guns, get out. There's terrorists in the moshav, Hamas. And nobody even could fathom how that could happen. How could they get through the wall? Where was the electric fence? The tunnels are bombed. The gates are closed. Where are the soldiers? Where's Mahsom Eretz? Where is everybody? Where's the helicopter? Where's the mazlat? We have an airplane without a fighter. 7 days a week, every single day. On Saturday, none. They came in with a JCB, big truck. They came in, bashed, the gates just fell down. But in Netiv Asar, they came over with some kind of a kite thing with a motor on it, and they landed inside the moshav. And of course, it was all such a surprise, and it was Saturday morning early, and they used the Qassam rockets and everything to take away from the fact that there's terrorists in the moshav. And one of them or 2 of them, until now, nothing has been, we haven't had a complete, to look at absolutely everything that happened that day. Nobody really knows until now. We haven't had a summary of everything that happened, because I was at 15 funerals in 4 days. So that was in the beginning here. We came here straight away. We left on Saturday night at 10 o'clock at night, past bodies on the road, and came here to, first of all, actually we went to Herzliya to a friend of mine, because it was late at night, And then we got word that we could come here. There was a room for me and my husband and my daughter, who's also, she's 44, but she has, she's متمودد نفسيت. So she's with us. So it was all, nobody still, 3 weeks later, on Saturday, it's 4 weeks, nobody can still get their head round about the fact that everything failed. Nobody can understand it. In Netiv Asara, we had the people, the girls that watched the cameras. We had the wall. We had the electric fence. We had the underground, 80 meters under the ground cement. We had Masom Erez. We had everything. Everything was automatic. Nothing could happen. I mean, we told the government all the time, the Hamas, why do they need to do all this? For what? Why are they training? To kill their own people? I mean, the Hamas killed a lot of people in Gaza, obviously. Anyone that's against Hamas gets shot, that's for sure. So, but it was a very, very, very difficult time on Saturday, and even although we left on Saturday, we still had no idea until the next day really what had happened and how many of our young friends and families had been murdered. And they just missed our house by about 40, 50 meters, like from here to that door. And I don't know why they passed by. I have lots of trees and bougainvillea around the Mamad, maybe because they couldn't get in, I don't know. I really don't know. But yesterday we went back to the Moshav because I needed to get some personal things and some documents that I needed for my daughter too, some things. We went back yesterday. It was horrific. And I have to pass by 5 houses where all these people were murdered to get to my house. I have to go back through a house where a husband was killed. His son was killed, murdered on the beach. He was murdered at home. His 2 children were in hospital when a grenade, they blew up with a grenade. They were in hospital, but they're safe now. My neighbor down the road, 3 houses down, they threw a grenade through the window and she was blown up and killed. She left 3 daughters and a husband. My other friend, her son was also with this other son from the Moshav and the beach in Zikim. They were killed, shot in the head on the beach. My other 2 friends that we used to travel with a lot and went out with many times, they were both shot dead. And their 4 sons were not at home at the time. So 4 sons with no parents. And then, instead of coming up our way, they went down, up north. And then they killed my girlfriend, her husband, and their daughter. And then they saw a lady in the Moshav, who's a Moshav member, like me. She's 82, I think 82, 81, 82, walking, killed her. Then saw the husband of another daughter of a member, shot him, and it just went on and on. In motorbikes, in these airplane things that they came in, and cars, I mean, like, what's going on, like, how can you explain it? You can't explain it. You cannot get your head around it. You can't get your head around the Mossad. You can't get your head around the Shmone Matayim. You can't get your head around the Tatzpitaniyot. They threw bombs into everything round our Moshav. They came in the kites thing, the electric kites, and they threw bombs into the Yore Yore. It's something we have in the Moshav, and it shoots at anybody who comes near the fence. That was gone.
An automatic
system. Yeah, an automatic system which the girls, the soldiers that work in Re'im, everything went down because they shot off. Beside my house, we have an antenna with everything on it. They shot that down. They blew up the wall. I mean, who wouldn't think? And we've spoken about this in the Moshav for years. If they can send 15,000 rockets, well, why can't they blow up the wall? You know, it's like so obvious. But instead, the government shoved money in there from Qatar, shoved money in it. And my God, can't you see? They're not building houses, they're not building schools, they're not. Only the Hamas have the big houses by the sea. You know, we know that. But like, why couldn't anyone see anything happening on that day? It's too unreal to even do. I'm almost 4 weeks now, and nobody can get their head around how everything completely failed. Completely failed. And now we're not going back until I don't need a safe house. If I'm going back, I don't want a safe house. I don't want a place to stay. I don't want them to shoot at me. I want Hamas out. And I want me and my children to be safe, my grandchildren to come, and not when they come to visit me, they stay in the safe house. You know, I have a bed there, and bed for the kids, and I made it really nice inside so that it feel nice and safe and comfortable, and I'm happy because I know if by chance they come to visit and a rocket comes over, because there's no reason for a rocket to come over, it just happens, you know.
They're actually too close for a rocket to hit.
Yeah,
Usually, right?
yeah.
They'd be like trying to fire.
No,
towards
all the
Tel
rockets
Aviv,
come
yeah.
into Netiv HaSara.
They still try to shoot.
Absolutely, it's all the Malgimot, the mortar bombs. But the Qassam came into, because they don't fight now they don't fire from near the border. They come from the end of Gaza. Gaza is only 40 kilometers long, 6 kilometers wide. And when it comes from 40 kilometers, then it lands in my house.
I see.
And if they do a mortar bomb, then it's just up and over, and we don't have any signal. We don't have any warning. It just lands. Yeah. And the Moshav is beautiful, and it's agriculture, and it's yarok and green and trees and flowers, and the people are good people, and the children that came back to the Moshav are amazing, take over their father's work, and they're the backbone of our Moshav. They're the ones that are looking after us now. You know, I'm like 70, my husband's 78, although he's swimming and doing everything, you know, he's like amazing. He's my rock. And it's the only reason, because he keeps things in and I get everything out, you know, like so difficult. Yesterday was so difficult. Really, I don't know how I did it yesterday, but I had 25 minutes to get everything I needed out of the house, and the soldiers outside and soldiers in the house. I had 25 minutes to get everything out in plastic bags and get out.
Because you went to the Moshav
To get
pick
stuff.
yeah, because you're all
Yeah.
left with nothing.
Yeah, and we left because we had no water, so I also have a dishwasher, and that was filled with stuff from Friday, and there was no water, so it's been 4 weeks now since everything's inside there too, so I don't know, I just put one thing in, I turned it on, the soldier said, you just leave it. I just said, leave it. I mean, if it blows up, I don't care, it doesn't matter. I mean, the house that was bombed now, nothing matters except we are alive, and that's the main thing. The people who survived, and I've never used that word, by the way, ever. I've been 51 years here. I've never used the word survive. I've been ill, I've been hospitalized, I've had dangerous pregnancies, you know, all sorts of stuff, personal stuff. But I've never used that word, I survived. Never, ever, ever, ever. And this was the first time, and it took us about, I think, a week to sort of like look at one another in the Moshav here, and all the older people are here, the people the same age as me, who started the Moshav. You know, we're the Miyazdim, you know, the ones that started the Moshav and built it, you know, because in the beginning we stayed in really tiny houses, and slowly built a home, had more children, etc., etc. I mean, I was like 29 when I came to Netiv HaSara. So, yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah,
Nueva was
beautiful,
yeah.
place.
So it was difficult for us also from Nueva, because Gil's a deep sea diver. He was in the nature. He continued working in the nature reserve, but in the Negev, in our area. Yeah. Until he retired when he was 60, 67.
And what are the flowers you said that they grow?
Yeah, we do flowers in the Moshav. They do I did flowers for about 5 years. I grew wax flowers, which was sent to I did that on my own. My husband was working, and I grew them myself. They went to the Bursa in Germany, and then we grew all sorts of stuff, and then stopped doing that. And I started working in Zikim, actually, the kibbutz that's here. I was a metapelet in Zikim, so I know everybody in Zikim. I know all the children, and they've grown up now. And then in the end, the past few years, I worked as a cake maker. I made cakes, konditoring. So, but I don't know. Yesterday when we went back, I looked around. I said to Gil, "What do you think?" And we opened the door of the house, and you know, every house has got a smell, and my house smells like Indian joss sticks, and I could just smell them. It was as if we never left. It was like going, and it's only been 4 weeks, and I felt as if I hadn't been there for like 10 years. It was like so weird, such a weird feeling, you know, because we never leave the moshav for such a long time. Because all the miftaim, they're 2 weeks, a week, 2 weeks. Only Tzuk Eitan was like 2 months, so we moved up north to my daughter, but now we can't move to her because she's been evacuated as well. And my other daughter, she left 6 months ago to Spain with her husband and 2 kids. And they are now saying if we win the war, they're coming back. So that's only one good thing that maybe might turn out from this. Because now with the soldiers, it's heartbreaking. You know, I don't know. It's like all the members here, they've all got my husband's brother, 3 sons in the army, 1 in Gaza and Tankim, and another 2 in the Lebanese border. It's like everybody has a story. Everybody has a story from this war. And we've got to win, because if we don't win, we're gone. We're lost. That's the big thing. We've got to win this war. This is like a war of like independence. Got to win. And if we don't, and if Biden says to stop, I don't know. But we can't stop until we get over this, because this massacre that they did will never be forgotten, ever. Ever.
When you were in the safety room all those hours, like, is there anything you want to tell us about that? Or?
No, it's just the noise. But we're regular. I'm telling you, we were there for 10 hours and we didn't know there was terrorists until 2.5 hours later we opened the TV, because I don't have a TV in the room. And I forgot my telephone was upstairs. And I didn't have my glasses and I can't see a thing. So it was like chaos with 3 people, you know? Not chaos exactly, because we didn't know there was. Usually, if a rocket, we have the Tzeva Adom, we have the rocket, we sit for 10 minutes, we get out, have a coffee.
Yeah.
Tzeva Adom, okay, back again, sit up, do that. It wasn't that like that. It was so different. It was so. I can't even explain it, because you couldn't imagine it was happening, so we didn't know what was happening. You can't imagine it. You couldn't imagine the Hamas would come over the wall in these flying machines and blow down the wall and come in through the fence with a tractor. I mean, like, what? Massacre hundreds and thousands of people, kill all those soldiers, murder people, cut their heads off, babies. I can't even talk about it. I mean, people in the Otef and the people that live in that area where we do, in Nachal Oz, the Nir Oz, the Be'eri, they're all our friends. We go to movies together in Sderot, and we have a cinematheque in Sderot. So we know all the people there. I go to a class here, my husband goes to a ceramic class. We know people. My kids know the friends in all the kibbutzim because they went to the same school. At Mevina, it's not a city that you can say, oh, I didn't know because it was like 2 roads away. These are people that went to school together. And it's so different. It's a different kind of life in the south where we live, you know? And it's so beautiful. And yesterday when I went in, I really had to hold myself. I was like really tough until I saw a friend who's a soldier there, and I just broke down. I said I couldn't stand it. But we'll build the moshav up again, but the government needs to really, they need to get the finger out and get this finished, even although I know it's going to be so hard. But we're prepared to stay until the end. Anyway, but I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, thank you.
You know, it's funny. I usually don't cry in English. It's a funny thing, and I only cry in Hebrew. It's really weird. And this is the first time I've sort of like, I think it's because of yesterday, because yesterday was so awful that to pass all these houses, you know.
They damaged the houses.
They burned them with the
they
people
burned
inside them.
with
With the people inside. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been interviewing for 3 weeks and
Oh, no, wow.
I've been doing a lot of crying.
No, wow.
But I
No, wow.
feel it's you know.
Yeah. My daughter
everybody wants to do something,
yeah.
and I can hold this space
Yeah.
for you to.
Yeah, yeah. You know, they talk
to
about going to
start
psychology. I
recovery.
was in Khosten for a year because of what happened in the house with the bomb coming in 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And the first time after 20 years being bombed, and one landed right beside me once and didn't blow up. But the first time I ever went to Khosten was when I wasn't at home and it happened. And that was like so weird. It's like 20 years had gone past and I never went to Khosten. And now I went religiously, I went twice a week, and she was lovely. She was an American, like yourself. And she was really lovely, and she really helped me. And, you know, we built the house with the new roof, and we had a new, wherever the rocket came in, we had to fix everything, the water and all the rest of it. Ah, sorry. Ah, you're still doing it? Ah, no, I thought we were just chatting there.
No, okay, well, I'll tell you, Sika.
כן, בסדר, לא נורא.
יש לי רק את אומרת לי.
Ah, okay,
Ah.